It's so annoying. My printer's out of toner. What else is new? Like, what is toner?
That's okay. First of all, you use a printer and you say you're out of toner. And can you just tell me you're 40 plus without telling me you're 40 plus? My God, my printer's out of toner. I can't see you. I'm so old. Da, 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 da.
It's just how I operate. Just like a landline. Love a freaking landline.
I saw you put that tweet out. What? Who uses those?
I do. First of all, 90% of people sound so much better on landline.
Is it bundled with your internet?
Yeah.
In your car insurance?
Yeah.
In your home insurance?
If it were up to me, every time I spoke to you, it would be over a landline. Scoop City is brought to you by Thursday Night Football on Prime Video. Hi, everybody. I'm the Athletic Senior NFL Insider, Dianna Rossini.
And I'm Chase Daniel, played 14 years in the National Football League.
Isn't football so fun? Like, isn't it just football. Fun? Seriously.
I've never seen you so pumped for an open of the show in my entire life.
Because so many incredible moments this weekend, from seeing Aiden Hutchinson in the stands in Detroit's game, just destroying the Tennessee Titans, to obviously Jameis Winston slinging the ball all around the field. The Cleveland Browns look happier than I've ever seen them, to the Commanders winning with that Hail Mary. I just appreciated the moments this weekend, you know?
I mean, the end of the first window games was bonkers. Absolute chaos. They were all one-score games, and I can't believe, I think you tweeted or told me or something, it's freaking week 8. Like, about to be week 9. Like, how? And
how about the Commanders, the way they won that Hail Mary that, I mean, I've never seen a stadium go crazy like they did. Dan Quinn just running around with his headset. Just the whole thing was bonkers. There's been so many different angles, too, that have been all over social media. So that was just incredible. I definitely want to talk about that. But there were some ugly games, of course, just like we see every week. And it just seems that Jets can't get out of their way. So I thought we'd have our colleague Zack Rosenblatt on, who was at that Jets-Patriots game, to give us a state of this team. I know we talk about them a lot on this show because they've got Aaron Rodgers, because they've made all these moves. But I want to know what the locker room is like. And Zack is the best reporter on this team. So he's going to join the show in just a few minutes. And then we're going to close out the show with the NFL's favorite snack. I'm not sure if you guys came across this story on The Athletic. Uncrustables. Okay? They're all the rage. So we're going to discuss that coming up in just a few. But first, let's get right to it. Here's what I'm hearing around the league.
Ahora sí, Daños a lanzar a lo profundo del terreno de juego. Ahí está la recepción. Touchdown. Touchdown de Washington. Touchdown. Está adentro.
Well, that's pretty cool to think in just week 8, that is the greatest sports moment for Commanders fans, for him specifically, right? But they haven't had that many, right? So, yeah, no. So just, they are one of those fan bases, like you're just so happy for them, because you know they've been through so much crap. You know, in last episode we talked so much about it. But I want to ask you, and I've been seeing a lot of the clips that you've been posting on social media. I think you've probably explained it better than anyone in terms of defending the Hail Mary. Because here's the thing. We've seen the Hail Mary thrown this season before. We saw the Bills and the Jets do it last week.
Rodgers.
Right? And we've seen the teams execute it. We've seen teams struggle. And Chicago is getting tons of heat about the way they defend it.
As they should.
So I first want to start with how you should defend it. So when you been on the field and all your years of experience, explain the way it should be defended.
Yeah, I mean, look, it all comes down, and I don't even look at the Hail Mary play, because the Hail Mary play couldn't have even happened without the play before the Hail Mary play, and that was a 13-yard completion on the left sideline where there was 0 Bears defenders in sight. So what the Bears did, there were 6 seconds left on the clock. The Commanders were on their 35-yard line. The Bears dropped everyone back. There's only three guys rushing and a spy. They moved everyone back, and there's 6 seconds left. It takes 6 seconds to run an NFL play. They took 4 seconds. They threw a little out route to the left. They got out of bounds at the 48-yard line. Okay, why is that so important? Well, for one, you get a lot closer so you can actually throw the Hail Mary into the end zone. What I would have liked to see, and what we've done everywhere I've been is you play a blanket coverage. What does that mean? You put a guy on the sideline every 10 yards on their sideline so they cannot throw an out route and get really hidden yardage, cheating yardage. And if they do that, then the Commanders would have had to throw it from their own 35-yard line, which no quarterback right now, other than maybe Josh Allen, could reach a 80-yard throw to the end zone. So your chances go way down. They should have been in like this picket fence coverage. They weren't. That was the issue before the play even began and for the Hail Mary.
Well, I was talking to some coaches this morning about just what they saw from it, even yesterday after the game, just sort of like the teachable moments. And I had one coach say, we are showing this in our team meeting on
Teach
Monday.
tape.
This is what not to do. A lot of really good teams do that where they collect all the bad plays around the league and they rip through them as a teaching, just like as a mechanism to say, hey, reminder, we don't want to make this mistake, or hey, this is why we practice this is why we practice that.
Exactly right.
It's definitely something that's going to be used. I know some people were wondering, why not call a timeout? Why not rush with more than just three guys? Why not Greg Williams that thing and just blitz, right?
That's such a great point from you. And honestly, I put that out there as I've only been around defensive coordinators mostly defensive coordinators that blitz Hail Marys. Greg Williams, okay, he used to bring overload pressure. And also Steve Spagnuolo, he blitzes Hail Marys. And why do you blitz Hail Marys? First of all, it gets more one-on-one matchups with your offensive linemen. Second of all, if you bring 6 and the halfback's out, you get a free runner, so the ball has to come out a lot quicker. I understand you have less defenders deep to actually defend the Hail Mary. But when you're that far away from your goal line, it's not like you're on your own 30 and you're throwing it up. I get that. But Jayden Daniels held onto the ball for over 12 seconds because they only rushed 3 and they had a spy that was covering Austin Eckler. Just a lot of things that coaches around the league are going to need to walk through. And then honestly, like when Jayden Daniels throws the ball and it's in the air forever, the Chicago Bears defense, they didn't box out anyone. That's really what you were taught on a Hail Mary from a defensive standpoint. They rarely call pass interference, right? Like it just doesn't really happen. Find a guy, box him out, make sure your guy doesn't do, and then 29 Tyreek Stevenson, that's another
hold on. Well, please tell me.
What are we doing?
How, as a teammate, you would respond after seeing that either on the field, on the film, and you're in the lot, like, how would you have felt about that? Because
so for viewers or listeners that don't understand, like what happened was he was taunting. He's a DB, number 29 for the Bears. He was taunting the Commanders fans because they thought they had won. I mean, I thought they won, and really wasn't paying attention to what had happened. And he was actually the one that tipped the ball up for the receiver to catch. If I was a teammate, I would probably give him some grace, to be completely honest with you, because I get it. You're trying to show off. You're trying to do all that. You got to stay focused for 60 minutes. It can't be 59 minutes and 54 seconds. And I think that's probably the message that Matt Eberflus is sending. But there's definitely some talk about it in the locker room. I love how he apologized. He sent out a tweet. He apologized for it. He got ahead of it. But it just can't be a good feeling right now for that kid.
I know that all 22 is so hard to watch, right? Soon as that wide view of it, and you're like, wait, he was taunting for a while. And look, it was bad. He owned it. Our Bears beat reporter, Adam Johns, he does such a great job with the team. Yeah. He was in the locker room right after the game. So Stevenson declined to talk to the media. You can only imagine. He was probably dealing with all the different emotions. But he described the locker room to me over text as just a mixture of belief, shock, and anger. He said Jalen Johnson was sitting backwards just at his locker, had a really animated conversation with safety Elijah Hicks before taking a shower and then speaking to the media. And Johnson said it to the media, but I think Adam also observed it. He's just pissed off, right? Just all of it. Everything about losing in that fashion burns.
Well, I mean, look at it. They would be 5-2 right now if they would have won that game. And quite honestly, for 50 minutes of the game, Caleb Williams stunk. And then the last 2 drives in the fourth quarter when they needed a play, he made it. they should have won that game. And quite honestly, the narrative, we wouldn't be calling PFT. We'd be calling Matt Eberflus or Caleb Williams to come on because they would have went onto the road. Yeah, Big Cat, exactly. They would have gone onto the road with a rookie quarterback who struggled against one of the best teams in the NFC, in the entire NFC, and beat them on the road. Like, it would have been totally Bears talk everywhere. Bears fans would have been going crazy. I still think they have a good team. You just got to win games like that because at the end of the year, those add up. You only get so many chances.
Yeah, so the vibes for the Bears, poor vibes for Washington Commanders, just electric. I mean, it's just an example of how one player has changed the overall direction of this entire franchise. And look, it started with the selling of the team and Josh Harris taking over, and then GM Adam Peters and Dan Quinn, who, is looked at around the league as just one of the best all-around guys. He's a good coach, but I think his strength is those relationships and connections he has with his players. I don't know. I just watched that and I was jealous to not be there. Actually, I just want to be there. It's and I've been scouring Twitter, looking at all the different angles and also hearing the different reactions. So just cheers to them. That's awesome. And yeah. It made me think of the Browns, right? So that was another example of a team that
vibes are high, baby.
Vibes are high, and it's simple. It's fun, right? And PFT was actually on the show with us last episode saying the Browns look like they're having fun with Deshaun Watson, right? It looked hard. It looked painful. The body language was down. And then you watch the Browns against the Ravens, a team they had no business beating. And Jameis just leading the way, not only vocally and just through his antics, but actually playing decent. And the offensive line looking
he played amazing.
I don't know what they did differently this week.
They ate their Uncrustables.
That's probably what it is. Our producer, Marissa Morris, was at the game, and she mentioned that this season, this is the first time when she left the stadium, she sat in traffic. Because normally people leave so early.
People are leaving, not so fast.
So, I don't know, Chase, don't you just feel like that coaching staff, that locker room, needed that win?
Oh, my gosh.
More. I'd probably say more than any team that played on Sunday.
I would definitely agree with that. When you get a part of a locker room and there's this black cloud around it, and Deshaun Watson's there, he's not playing well. All the talk in the media is about should they bench Deshaun Watson, should they not? Unfortunately, he got hurt, right? Out for the year, Achilles, and they go to Jameis. And quite honestly, I wasn't sure what Jameis we were going to get. Are we going to get the 30 interception Jameis, or were we going to get the 30 touchdown Jameis? But it just seems like, it's sort of similar to when they went to Flacco last year. It's that spark and it's that boost that Jameis gave them this year. Can they sustain it? I don't know. And quite honestly, that's not really what I care about. What I care about is that they played well offensively, and they held the Ravens to 123 yards rushing, easily the lowest output of the year for the Baltimore Ravens. So they played good defense. They played complimentary football. Jameis goes out, throws for over 330 yards. 2 touchdowns, big touchdowns, but you saw that you sort of got the Jameis Winston experiment because the play before he threw the game-winning touchdown, it should have been an interception in Kyle Hamilton's hands. He didn't do it. 2nd and long, they throw the touchdown. They play good enough defense to be, honestly, one of the better teams in the NFL. At least they were playing that way. So anything can happen on any given day. Exactly how you started the show. I love football.
Yeah, and I think they feel that way. I think there's a weight off them.
Oh yeah.
Look, they know they have a challenge, right? This is a team that is going to have to fight and have a lot of luck in order for them to be able to really fully turn this around. But just in terms of staying motivated to keep practicing hard and keep fighting. But at the same time, don't you think the Browns vibes from us specifically, since we talk about it, is got to be more, obviously, we told you, right? Like, we've been saying it every single week. I don't think anyone here is really that surprised. I mean, I think there were some question marks about Jameis Winston. We've talked about that, but the quarterback situation was really holding them back. And I think we saw it on the field. So we'll see how they'll be able to do. But the Ravens vibes, how would you describe them real quick since we brought them up?
Oh, like you lose to the Cleveland Browns. I literally thought that they were playing the best football out of anyone in the entire league. And it just goes to show you, like, division game, on the road, QB change, play caller change. The Ravens defense has not been great against the pass at all. So I love that Ken Dorsey sort of exploited that with Jameis Winston. And you just got to go back to the drawing board. You can't let this derail a season, because I still think that the Ravens, even though the Chiefs now have a 4-game lead over them because the Chiefs are undefeated, plus they beat them, so they own a tiebreaker, 5-3, 7, like all these crazy things. So it's a big loss all the way around, especially if you're trying to get home field advantage.
Yeah, this is the Ravens' 8th loss they've suffered while leading with less than 2 minutes to go since 2022. So
really,
yeah, I was going to call the vibes a blip, but I don't know, maybe more than a blip. Maybe it's a blip. Like
blip, blip,
I think
blip,
it's
blip, blip.
blip. I don't know. I think that's concerning. Their defense is not the same. It is not the same.
Nope. Change defensive coordinators. You let go of a lot of free agents, high-profile free agents. You let go of Geno Stone, who was second in the league in interceptions. There's a lot of losses there, and it's starting to show.
All right, the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football playing against the San Francisco 49ers. Both teams really in scenarios where it felt a little must-win, specifically more for Dallas, right? Sources there shared with me, they focused during the bye week and coming off it on the run game. It was all about the run game. They call up Dalvin Cook, and they rushed for less than 60
really
yards.
Helped, right?
Yeah, it didn't do anything. So now they're 3-4. Their upcoming schedule, they got the Falcons, the Eagles, the Texans, and the Commanders. But I want to ask you just quickly about Dak. I love the exhale.
Diana?
I wasn't really looking for that much drama, but
I feel that way though. What do you want to know, Diana?
Well, I feel like if we're going to talk about the Cowboys, you have to include all the drama, right? Did you see the story from Mike Silver before the game? Jerry, Jones Jr., Charlotte Jones in the car. Do you understand what happened to them?
No.
So when you enter a stadium and you're in the SUVs, they have these security like bolts that come up to let you in and out.
They had it at Philly.
Yes, they do. The link has it. I think Washington has it too, actually. Anyway, there were a couple SUVs. The SUV that Charlotte and Jerry Jr. was in, the bolts came up while they were in the car. So Charlotte has some serious rib injury.
Wait,
Jerry
what?
Jr. has a head injury. This is just entering the game. We're not even talking. So then that starts, and then
what?
Then you have the whole story with their kicker, right? He's part of jury duty. He's been coming into the so basically what happened was he got a jury duty notice, right? He ignored it, and then he got another notice, and it was on his off day, so it was like a Tuesday. So he's like, I'll just go. Well, he goes and he gets selected. Okay, so then he gets selected and he gets stuck. Doesn't tell the Dallas Cowboys. Doesn't say like, hey, help me. Just like, I'll just do it.
Yeah.
Then has to start kicking at night, right? So because he's got to spend the day in court, practice is over by the time he gets out of court. He then has to go to the facility to practice at nighttime. Well, the indoor facility at the Star is sometimes used for high school games and practices.
Oh my God.
So he had to go outside. This is all Mike Silver's reporting. He had to go outside while the sprinklers are on to go practice kicking.
I know you can't see me, but I'm literally poking my eyes out right now.
Like, how is this happening
myself.
with the Dallas Cowboys? The story blows
That's
my
not even
mind.
happened on the field. You didn't get to on-the-field stuff.
That's what I'm saying. So Silver's doing this whole story. It's coming out soon about like what this court case is about and why he did this. It's going to be really good. But
of course he is. I love that about him.
So it's going to be really interesting. But then, then let's get to the field. And my original question here was, by the way, we didn't even talk about post game. Did you see that?
These nuts.
Oh God. So let's skip all the drama outside it and just let's get back to Dak. Sorry.
Okay, great. Yeah,
but it's part of the story, right? Because it's just bad vibes. Bad vibes.
Yeah, bad vibes.
So,
look, Dak he's having to force the football down the field. And he's having to force the football down the field because the Dallas Cowboys have 0 run game. I think they're averaging 71 yards a game, which is the worst in the NFL. Brock Purdy had more rushing yards than the Dallas Cowboys did yesterday. The quarterback for the other team had more rushing yards than your running backs and your quarterback on your team. That's how bad it is, and just 2 inexcusable interceptions from Dak. And I think that's just, look, Dak's pressing, and Dak has one target, and CD had 13 or 14 catches, 2 touchdowns, wide open touchdowns. That's the only target he has. Jake Ferguson hasn't really stepped up as a true number 2. Brandon Cooks is out. Like, all these guys, like Rico Dowdle is like illness before the game. Like, it's honestly one of those things where I'm so sick and tired of talking about America's team, because America's team's not good anymore. And the biggest thing that can happen, they're relevant off the field, they're irrelevant on the field. And that's the issue with me.
Yeah. And then you see the Kansas City Chiefs adding another big top wide receiver. They just traded with the Patriots for another linebacker. A team that's so poor appears to be very all in.
Veach for the win.
Right. Veach for the win again. How about the Niners, though, on the other side of it? Another team that's just, we always, the term we've been using this entire season has been bad vibes on the Niners, right? With all the different issues that they've had. But George Kittle, the rest of them, they figured it out. They're down all these players, yet they're finding ways to win. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey being the biggest storyline coming out of San Francisco of his return. When will it be?
Is he coming back, Diana? What the heck? What is happening?
General Manager John Lynch has done his weekly media updates, and he said that they're expecting him back soon. So
when is soon, though?
I'm thinking in November.
After
I'm thinking
bye?
This is coming up. Yeah, I'm thinking probably around week 10. I would think that would probably line up with what they're discussing internally. So we'll see if it can happen, though, right? Because I do think that there was a thought it was going to be earlier. And now here we are. Christian McCaffrey, who gets this new deal in June, and then out of nowhere has this serious injury that he has to go to Germany to get more medical attention. The whole thing.
Ricky Pearsall gets shot. Like, Trent Williams doesn't get a contract. Brandon Ayuk contract out. Like, it's just, in my opinion, I'm just sort of meh on the 49ers. Like, I know that everyone's making a big deal. Oh, they were 3-4 in 2021. They were 3-4 in 2022. Both those years made it to the NFC Championship game. This year's 49ers seem a little different for me, and I can't pinpoint it. I can't pinpoint it. It's pretty simple. They're really hurt on offense, and they have a run game, but it's not CMC run game, right? They're without Brandon Ayuk. George Kittle is having an excellent year because they're starting to use him because they need him. Then on the defense side of the football, Nick Sorensen, the new defense coordinator, just hasn't quite got it clicking yet. I was watching the game, and I was like, there's no way they're going to blow a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter. Like, there's no way in hell this is going to happen. And sure enough, they finally – and even Fred Warner, linebacker for the 49ers, all-pro linebacker, one of the best linebackers in the game, was like, I can't believe that happened. We shouldn't even got it that close. So it's just a weird team for me right now.
I know I say this about like 5 different players. Fred Warner's my favorite player in football.
Yeah,
but I said that about Max Crosby. I said that about Stephon Diggs.
You can have multiple
Barkley.
favorites. It's okay.
I just love his game. I love watching Fred Warner on defense.
Me too. He's a baller.
I probably need to do a better job of watching the rest of the defense when I'm watching the Niners, but I kind of just like find him and just I'm amazed by him. And just the way he rallies his team. Even in the pregame, he had them huddled up. Like, he is so the guy.
He's the emotional
especially
leader
on defense.
there for sure.
Yeah. But look, you look around the NFC West. Okay, so for the 49ers right now, with the trade deadline coming up, I know there are some discussions there about possibly being sellers, but also being buyers, right? They could use a receiver. We've known this for a while with their situation. So where are they going to find one? We'll learn a little bit more about that over the next few days of where they're going to go find that guy if they decide to do that, and if they're willing to make some moves here on defense, depending on how they feel. Like, this is hard. I actually think, like, I feel for the John Lynches and the Kyle Shanahans who want to compete, but you have to take a look at your team and be honest with what are we, and knowing that you got this Brock Purdy contract coming up. They
need another D lineman because Hargrave's out for the year, and they need a receiver. They could be good. I think that's what you're hearing. I just laughed at you because you're the insider and you're the one getting all this information. I'm just sitting back and getting it really from you. You text me all the time, like, what do you, I don't like, or I'll text you like, hey, what do you hear? What do you, but like, what do the 49ers think they are? Like, you're like, they're buyers, they're sellers. Do we think that they think that they're good? Or do they think that they're bad? Do they not want to spend the money? Like, how do they feel about internally how they are?
It is hopeful, right? The bottom line is they're hopeful, But there's those questions are being asked though, like to themselves, like they're having those. Can we do this? Can this roster with these players, with the injuries that we're dealing with, and knowing what's coming, is this going to be good enough for us to try to get back to the NFC?
Glad we're asking the same questions.
Championship game. Yeah. And here's the thing. I think people want a better answer, right? You're asking a great question. I asked it too. I want a clear path for them of like, no. What is it? Where are you headed? What do you want? What are you willing to take
Don't you know what you are after 8 games?
I think the way this season has gone, that just tells you how difficult it's been for the 49ers.
Yeah. Vibes are meh.
Yeah, those guys need a hug. Speaking of meh, the Tennessee Titans, we don't talk about them on the show a lot.
No.
They're 1-6.
Oh.
And look, around the league, most people shared with me over the last few weeks, especially with trade deadline stuff coming up, teams that are looking to poke around a little bit, try to see if Tennessee's got any guys available for them. Most feel like they're in rebuild mode. That's been the thought with Rand Carthon and Brian Callahan, the duo together for the first year. This is all about just figuring out who they are, what they want to be, despite spending the most amount of money in this offseason to build up this team, right? Because they went bonkers. I love the moves that they made in the offseason. I was like, wow, money, baby. Like, fix this roster. This roster is not good, right?
Yeah.
We're talking years. What was the narrative coming out of Tennessee? This is a team that's performing with a mediocre roster, and now the roster's good.
And now they're not performing.
So
quarterback.
What's the issue?
Quarterback. It's the quarterback. Like, look, and we talked about it on the show as one of our first shows. We talked about Titans because honestly, looking at their roster and the money that they spent and the success that they had, and then Callahan coming over and all these, and then the only question mark I had was the quarterback, Will Levis. They're building all this and spending all this money around Will Levis, which he hasn't even played. Mason Rudolph's played. And so you go out, you get a guy who's played a little bit in Mason Rudolph, but you don't go out and get like a Flacco, or you don't go out and get like a proven veteran. Like, what if Jameis Winston would have ended up there? Like, I wonder what they would have done. You let Derrick Henry go. And I know that everyone thought he was washed. He ain't washed. He's leading the league in rushing right now. So that's an issue. That's an issue. And then it's just one of those things that it's hard not to point everything at the quarterback, Diana.
I get that. But there are teams around the league that have performed better and still have quarterback issues. Like, I know Mason Rudolph's not performing at a high level, but there are things that we're seeing in this team that are just bad looks in general. Even like a player like Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah,
where did he go? He's a player that other teams are inquiring about. They would love to get Big Jeff on
traded. He's
traded. They won't, no, because he's
okay. I'm about to say he's the foundation.
He's a beast. He's obviously not as good, but he's in that space of like a Myles Garrett, a Max Crosby in terms of how how Tennessee values him. He's good. He ain't good right now.
Get on, Diana.
No, I love Big Jeff. I've seen him better. I've seen him better.
But the thing is that their defense is easily the best part of their team. I mean, they're top 6 or 7 in every major category.
It was 52-14.
It's the Lions. Come on, like give them a break. They get a pass.
What are the vibes?
Their
of
defense,
the Lions?
other than that, I mean, ecstatic Super Bowl contenders were biting kneecaps off.
Rolling. That's their vibe. They are rolling. They remind me of the Eagles a few years ago when the Eagles were blowing everybody out and went to the Super Bowl. Like,
you know what's not being talked about enough on the Lions, Diana?
What?
Their defense. Aaron Glenn. Offense gets all the praise in the world. That defense is rolling. Hey, by the way,
yes.
Are they trading for somebody?
The Lions?
Are they?
They're trying.
Aiden Hutchinson?
Now, after you watch that Sunday game, you would think that maybe they wouldn't need it. But they're going to. So my vibes on the Titans officially would be concerned. I think.
Okay.
You always have
concerned enough to not get another year if you're Brian Callahan?
No, he's going to get another year. I don't. They're not going to
goodness.
move off him. I think Brian has a lot of talent. I just think it's a little bit of this first
You scared
year.
me there for a second.
Yeah, no, I don't. I've not had one conversation with anyone in Tennessee that made me feel like they're going to pull the plug on this. But they've done that to me before, so it could happen again. Things change around here,
Yes,
Chase.
they do quickly.
All right, real quick. Finally, Colts. What's your vibe on the Colts right now?
What do you think?
WTH? Like, what the hell?
I was going to use stronger words, but yeah, what the hell is good? Anthony Richardson.
WTF?
What are we doing? You take yourself out of the game and you do
so
the
he took
pat
his
on your head?
He took himself out of the game and admitted that he was gassed, right? He's like,
Lie.
What?
Lie to the media. Do not ever say that again in your entire career. You just lost respect of every football player and every quarterback and every offensive lineman to ever have played the game. I'm being harsh, Diana, but that's what this is called for. I've never seen this in my entire life. It is unexcusable. It is inexplicable. And he should be seriously thought about getting benched. That's how I feel about this, because you are supposed to be the franchise. You are supposed to be the guy. If you're giving off vibes out of a little scramble on 2nd and goal where you go 20 yards, you tap out. I thought it was a concussion. You tap out, and on 3rd and goal, you're not in the game in a tight division race. You're second in the NFC. You're 4-4 right now. Everything is still right ahead of you. It was a 23-20 game. What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Those are my vibes.
I would like to see him come out and say that I got to be better. I'm interested to see how
he might not have a chance to if he gets benched.
Well, I don't think the Colts would have a problem with Joe Flacco stepping back in there since we've seen what he's been able to do. So, yeah, that's got to be tough. And that's going to be tough on the coaching staff, right? Shane Steichen, Chris Ballard, they've shown nothing but confidence and belief in Anthony Richardson being special. But this is stuff
2 of 15 in the first half, Diana. He completed 30% of his passes. He had 1 interception, 2 fumbles, 1 lost fumble.
Are they getting this wrong?
He hasn't been playing good. You know, Ballard's my guy. So I trust in him until the wheels fall off because I was with him in KC. But I do think they got this shiny toy, even though he's a little old, and Joe Flacco sitting on the sideline. He played well. The defense is starting to come along. Who knows?
All right, still to come here. It's no secret the vibes in the Jets locker room are not very great. Speaking of older toys that are supposed to be shiny, Aaron Rodgers disappointing the Jets again. Our beat reporter, Zack Rosenblatt, covers the team closely. He's going to join the show just to give us a quick state of the team. What is going on? It just feels like every week there's something else. Who is getting fired next? Zack has the latest. We'll be right back. All right, back here on Scoop City as we are trying to figure out where the Jets stand at this point. We thought we'd bring on our Jets beat reporter, Zack Rosenblatt, who has covered this team for a few years and helped me along with a very big story that he really captained the ship last year, Chase, on really the dysfunction of that Jets organization. And I think the hardest part about covering this team is you thought that those mistakes would be corrected this year, and they just haven't. Because here we are, headed into week 9, and I'm not really sure what to think of this New York Jets team. So hopefully, Zack, you can help us maybe understand what is really going on, both in the locker room, what people are talking about in the front office, in the building. So can we just start there? It's going to be pretty open-ended. The vibes. Like, what are the vibes around the New York Jets right now?
Not good. I can say that much. It's a lot of guys scrambling for answers. You talk to them after these games, and you know it's been the same thing over and over again for so long. But the difference is the expectations were so high. Aaron Rodgers is healthy and playing, well, healthy-ish and playing, and it's just, you know, this was as bad of a loss as I've experienced covering this team. I haven't covered them for a very long time, but the guys who have covered them for a long time also felt that way, just because the season was pretty much on the line in this game, and by every measure, they screwed it up. And it's kind of hard to figure out how they pick up the pieces from here. The future looks bleak, and they just finished week 8. And so it's pretty depressing right now. I think the fans are, I'm very curious to see what this crowd looks like on Thursday night against the Texans and how many people show up and the kind of noises they make, because it's pretty bad right now.
The future is the first thing that I thought about this morning when I was doing my show, and really last night because I mean, they didn't play well in the red zone, but you look at the final stats and Rodgers played okay. Like, it wasn't like Rodgers played awful. The story of the year, in my opinion, is Greg Zuerlein. He's made 9 out of 15 kicks and missed massive kicks. They could have easily been 5-3. They could have won those 3 games where he missed kicks in, right? He missed a field goal and an extra point yesterday. They lost by 3. But where does the future, like, where do you think Woody Johnson is thinking? Do you need to blow the building up? Do you need to, like, get rid of Rodgers after this year? Was the Devontae Adams trade a mess? I mean, all those things popped into my head.
I was going to say, you're listing off these things, and it's like every time you say, I'm like, oh, God. Oh, God.
Yeah,
yep,
I know,
that
because
too.
it's like that's and it's just that, like, answer those, please. Like, what is happening?
Well, the whole thing, this was an all-in season, and when you have a 40-year-old quarterback and you go all in and it fails miserably, then you have to pick up the pieces after the fact. So now you have to answer the question of who the quarterback's going to be next year, because I can't imagine Aaron and the Jets will want to continue this relationship next year if it keeps going down this path, and that means Devontae Adams is leaving, and they have a bunch of key free agents that they're going to have to pick up. Right now they technically have $50 million in cap space, but that goes away real fast. They're going to need a new GM, most likely. They haven't fired Joe yet, but I imagine that's coming. They need a new head coach, they need a new staff, they need a new front office, essentially, because they fired his assistant GM last year and never replaced him. So, like, it's just very bleak, and this is an owner who, I know I can tell you that he's very upset right now, and I don't think anybody is going to have sympathy for him because he's made some rash decisions recently. So it's just kind of bleak. And, there's the other layer of, if Donald Trump wins the election, there's a good chance Woody follows him again, and then he's gone for 4 years and his brother takes over. And what does that look like? Like, they're just... So that's why they need this year was all about winning. And when they traded for Devontae, it wasn't even about winning a Super Bowl anymore. It was about pulling themselves out of the dumps and getting to the playoffs, and that failed. So it's hard to even to your point when you were asking that question. It's like hard to wrap your mind around everything when you lay it all out. And that's kind of like where I'm at, and I think that's probably where the Jets at. There's a lot of people in there who are not going to be making these decisions at this time next in the offseason, so it's really complicated.
Zach, the theme of the show was mostly good vibes, right? Like, we started off talking just like the cool stuff going on around the league with the Commanders, even the Browns pulling off a win.
That
the
like?
Detroit Lions are doing, right?
Yeah.
And when you talk to people that are covering these teams, you can hear it in their voices how different it is. Compared to the story that you are covering week in and week out. And it just seems that every week they're trying something new that feels like a fix-it for the time being. And everything has worked against them. Nothing has been the quick fix. Not firing Robert Saleh. A lot of the concerns when they fired Saleh was that, well, now Jeff Ulbrich has to step in from the DC position to be the head coach. We're going to see perhaps maybe an issue with the defense. What have we seen? Issues with the defense. Devontae Adams can't fix it all. We saw he can't fix it all. But I think we had to find something positive about this team. And we struggle. I know Chase struggles. Well, is there something that you're seeing here that gives you any indication that they can find a way out of this?
Man,
be honest,
if we're
Zach.
trying, yeah, I mean, not really, to
If
be honest.
it's no. But
I mean, what I would say is I don't get the sense yet that the locker room has turned on each other. Like, I think that's a positive. But yeah, it's hard to, Jeff Ulbrich, to your point, they put him in an impossible position. Like, this is a guy who's never been a head coach before. And out of the blue on a Tuesday, he finds out he's going to be the head coach. Something he's always wanted, but he was just preparing to be the defensive coordinator. Now he has to do that job while leading a team in a way he's never done before. And so I think that's been a mess. And I mean, then there's the Aaron Rodgers of it all. Like, he's been good. He's been good enough to win if the things around him are going well. But there's also the factor of this operation is an absolute mess at the line of scrimmage. Like, these guys don't really seem to know where they're supposed to be, and they're struggling to get the plays off in time. And that falls back on Aaron ultimately, because this is the guy who he wanted control of everything, and the guys around him have not really adapted in the way he thought, and he hasn't adjusted. And so there's you can look at the numbers. There's the crazy stat I had in my story, and it was circular on social media about teams that have scored more than 20 points, allowed less than 250 yards, and didn't turn the ball over. They were 750-0 in NFL history before yesterday.
Oh my God.
The Jets find new ways to lose every week. And so if you want to be optimistic, you can look at most of these losses have been close. The Steelers won, they should have won too, and they just fell apart after halftime. But every single game on this 5-game losing streak, you could argue they probably should have won. And so if you want to say, like, if they can turn it around, like, that's where you point to. If they just, like, fix these things, but good teams don't mess up consistently the way they do ultimately.
We just finished week 8. We're on to week 9, and we're already talking about at least I'm talking about what a new head coach would look like for the New York Jets. One, do you see a head coach wanting to take this job because it's years of dysfunction?
Yep.
2, how do you make the New York Jets relevant again?
I mean, they're both kind of tied together. Like, why would a head coach look at this if they have other options? Because I think, there's going to be head coaches that, you're going to take an opportunity if it's there. And a lot of coaches, I think, look at situations and say, I can be the one that fixes this. Like, there's ego involved. But at the end of the day, like, there's not a lot of appealing things about this job. Right? I mean, the owner just fired a coach in week 5 after he endorsed him at the end of last season. Like, why would you want to go to an organization like that? And you have a 40-year-old quarterback. If Rodgers comes back, how appealing is it coaching Rodgers? And if he doesn't, you don't really have a quarterback in place. There are talented players on this team. Like, I do believe there's a core of young, good players if you can get the right culture in. But it just needs to be a coach, and it might be hard to find them. You need a coach that is going to create the culture himself as opposed to letting the players create the culture. I think that was Robert Saleh's whole thing. He wanted the players to lead themselves, and I think that's backfired in terms of, like, accountability and things like that. And so you need to bring in a coach who can lay down the hammer while also, like, being good at the X's and O's. And, there's not a lot of perfect coaches out there if they're available generally, but there are some out there. And, I don't know. It's really hard sell, but at the end of the day, their best hope is that, a coach desperately wants to be a head coach, and he doesn't have other options.
Before you go to Anna, so your read on it is that Woody Johnson would not pay top dollar for a guy like, Ben Johnson, because he fits all that criteria to me, and he could get say in it. What's your read on that?
I think he would. I think Woody wants to fix this as much as he can. I think sometimes he directs his resources in the wrong directions, but I think he's going to see the big names out there. He's going to see the Mike Vrabels, the Ben Johnsons, and I think he's going to want to hire them. But the question is going to be whether if those guys are going to have other options. Like, that's a fact. So will they want to go to the Jets, and will he tell them, like, you have control to create the culture you want? And are they going to, the GM and coach are going to come in at the same time too, which is a factor. So, like, this is all stuff I didn't think I would be talking about in week 8, frankly. So I'm still kind of scrambling. But
yeah. And you have to wonder too if he's going to be a little hesitant to bringing in a first-time head coach again, right? Because he did that with Robert Saleh, and there was some
totally.
job, like there should be. But Saleh seems to be landing on his feet so far, helping out his buddy Matt LaFleur at Packers practice, and they got a nice win there. So, look, I think the bottom line on this Jets team is there is no easy fix. There is no easy. There's not one person here that's affecting it all. If anything, the one person that is technically in power here, which is Aaron Rodgers, isn't the right person to be calling all the shots here because it's not working out.
Yeah.
All right. So the show is all about good vibes. So we figured, is there any good vibes going on in your life? Because you can't just live in this circle of Jets hell. Before we let you go, can you give us something great that you're looking forward to so we could give you some hope and joy this week?
Yeah, I mean, as Diana, I am engaged right now currently, and my fiance and I are in the process of, like, picking out stuff for our wedding, which I'm enjoying more than I thought I would. Like, we locked in our DJ and our wedding coordinator and all this crap. But so I am excited about that. Looking forward to that. So it's in May, so I still have a little bit before that happens. So, but it's some light at the end of the tunnel for me in my personal life.
Congrats.
Thank you. Definitely something that you can look forward to. We're not going to be those old married people that give advice. But I will say one.
Speak for yourself, old married person.
One wedding day advice, and I've told Chase this before. Don't be afraid to capture your own videos on your cell phone that day. Like, you don't want to be on your phone. Like, that's weird. You're not going to be texting. I mean, I'll probably be texting you, but you're not going to be tweeting. But the best videos I have from my wedding day are from the ones on my phone that Kevin and I just did, like in the limo or the church or That's
Put
how
your
Chase
phone
is.
down, bro. Just
say
enjoy
that.
it.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say that.
What are you talking about?
Well, congratulations on your engagement. I know that you were in
Thank
Paris
you.
enjoying some downtime when the whole Sala firing happened.
I will not be looking at my phone for news when during my
Do
wedding.
not.
I can say
You have
that
the
much.
best
Yeah.
Twitter photo right now. Chase, it's him in front of the Eiffel Tower, and he's on his phone working on the Robert Saleh story. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
All right, man. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you soon.
See ya.
All right, so we are expanding this segment of our inner mentions today because a story that our very own Jason Jenks wrote last week. Jason helps us out with the Scoop City show here. Well, the article that he put out, it blew up. Like, I knew this would be good. It was all over my timeline. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. So he was the brains behind a piece on The Athletic that went viral. It was all about the Uncrustables, you know, those sandwich things?
Oh, I know them. I lived it for 14
Right?
years.
So NFL teams eat over the course of a season those prepackaged PB&J sandwiches that little kids eat. It turns out that according to Jason's reporting, and he got 24 teams to comment on this, NFL teams eat at least 80,000 of these a season. That's 80,000.
I would say more. I mean, I bet I ate about 8,000 in my career.
The part of my take guys are trying to eat 80,000 in like a
There's
city.
no way.
I know, it's
First of all,
disgusting.
it's off. They're awful for you, but they taste so good.
But why are you guys, like, you guys all have cafeterias. You guys all, I like to think, have a decent amount of money to buy yourself a meal. Why are you eating these things? My kids eat them.
Yeah, I know. It's like, you know what? I went to the Saints and in 2009, and it would be like in locker room, there's like a snack area. It would be like, you could get cold Uncrustables or you could get like room temperature Uncrustables. And it'd be in the locker room where it'd be in the weight room where you could go in and get one out of the fridge, and they'd have strawberry or grape. And it was just an easy snack that like filled you up, that was sweet, but also like the peanut butter, I guess, helps you get energy, even though there's so much sugar in it. It's probably the complete opposite. It's just an easy way to get PB&Js into your system. And before games too, that's the biggest thing. And at halftime, I mean, they're everywhere, Diana.
Strawberry or grape jelly?
Oh, strawberry. That's the easiest question you'll ever ask me.
Of course.
Why?
Course, that's your
Wait,
answer.
are you grape?
Of course I'm grape.
Wait, why?
Strawberry and peanut butter to me don't go together.
So
Strawberry on toast, yes.
What? How about this is weird. I haven't had like a PB&J in a long time, just like a normal PB&J. But when I do and I make my kids them, we use grape jelly. Or my dad, I grew up on grape. And so when I make my kids it, it's like whatever the wife has in the fridge. But I grew up on grape, so I think I'm just like over it. So
So you're like rebelling against your family. Like, you made me
that's all
eat
my
all
dad
that
used to-
grape jelly, so
my
my
mom
children
would be
have
on a work
strawberry.
trip. My mom would be on a work trip, and my dad would just, hey, let's get a PB&J. I was like, oh, thanks, Dad. Appreciate you.
I remember there'd be times where my dad would make my sandwiches too, and he didn't know that we had grape, even though he was actually the chef in our house. But sometimes when he'd make my sandwiches, he would use strawberry, and I wouldn't eat that day. It was such a sad story because I didn't like strawberry on my peanut butter. I don't mind it. Like, I've done it. I just think grape is the
When
more
was the last time you
traditional.
had one?
Yesterday.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, we eat peanut butter jelly all the time.
Okay, what type of jelly brand?
We use Smuckers in our house, but I don't like my bread toasted. It has to just be a white piece of bread.
Yeah,
just,
that's
I don't.
fine. Oh, wait.
But
white,
a lot of people.
You're old school white.
What do you use?
Just like, I don't know, healthy stuff.
It's funny you say that. Your wife posted on an Instagram like your health cabinet, and I took a screen grab of
insane.
it, and I showed Kev, and I was like, "We have to do this." He's like,
So,
"What?
Yeah. No.
You can't
It
even put
is.
a cap on top of your water bottle. And you want to have a snack cabinet?" I'm like, "Oh,
You
no."
could. I'll send you a picture of it. It's all like the healthy alternatives. My wife's gotten really into, like, especially because we live out here in California. But so we don't use Smuckers. I think we used to use, I don't know, one of the other ones. But now we've
Some
transitioned to like chia seed berries, and that tastes like they're like much healthier for you. And our kids don't know the difference because there's so much crap in that
That's
other
good.
stuff.
I know. I need to tap into Hillary's mom.
I'll send a picture.
More.
It's
She
pretty
does a
good.
good job with all that, it seems. With all her
She's a
food
great
and her
mom.
cooking. Well, come over to New Jersey. I could use some help. But look, we're talking about all this because it also made us start to think. And please, if you guys are listening to this and you are a parent and you are known to perhaps maybe, I don't know, trying some of your kids' food. I don't know about you, but when I'm getting the boys' dinner ready, I can't help but eat their food because 90% of the day I'm starving because I don't take care of myself. I'm not eating because I'm doing too much. So
What's your favorite kids food that you eat?
My boys, Dino Nuggets. Oh my, you know the chicken nuggets?
Yeah, of course I know
Why
chicken
are they
nuggets. Yeah.
so good?
You eat ketchup with them? Ranch? Mustard?
No, plain.
How? They're dry as all get out.
I don't overcook them. I make them.
You microwave them or you oven them?
No. What? No. You put them in the microwave?
Yeah, quicker, way quicker.
No. I put
You
them
know,
in the
my
oven.
ultimate dad meal when mom's gone and I have to make food for 3 kids,
Yeah.
which three's more difficult than 2, but I thought 1 was difficult. Now it's like I have 3, and they all like the different plates that they like colored
so
plates.
annoying.
I'm like, stop fighting. We have this red plate that
Every
freaking
family has this.
fights about.
Why?
But anyway, my dad meal, and it'll be Dino Nuggets. My son can eat like 12 of them. It's insane.
So good. Okay.
Dino Nuggets, mac
would
and
you
cheese, and strawberries. That's
a-
the go-to meal.
I love how we all do the same thing as parents, where you throw in that one healthy thing because the guilt of the
strawberry.
mac and cheese and the chicken nuggets. I don't even read the back of the box because I just don't want to know. But the boys love it and they're happy.
yeah.
All right. What about Hot Pockets? Do you do that?
What? They still make those?
Yes.
No, I'm
So
sorry, I don't.
I bought them like 6 months ago and tried
Thoughts?
it. Disgusting.
Yeah, they're bad.
I
They're
think
bad,
when you're in
bad.
your 20s, your taste buds are so different because you're younger and I don't know, perhaps maybe more open to things. I can't do it anymore.
You have elite taste buds, right? Is what
Okay.
you just said.
Animal crackers.
Nope.
You won't even grab a few?
Nope. I've quit sugar in my life lately, and I feel way better because of it. I used to be a sugar fiend.
Oh.
Like, it was bad.
Like candy kind of sugar? Or?
Oh, dude, every type of sugar you could possibly want. We had a little not a birthday party, we had a football party because our flag football team for my son that I coach won one of the championships or whatever. There's like 3 divisions. We won one of the divisions, and we had everyone over. My wife, of course, goes next level and gets a massive cake that says, "Congratulations, Tar Heels." And that was some of the first sweets I've had in a long time, and I felt sick to my stomach. I'm quitting sugar.
How the cavity situation? I feel like people
0 ever in my life.
See, I knew that. I kind of knew that was going to be the answer.
I'm a good
All right,
brusher, and I floss my teeth, Diana.
The one thing that we talk about in our house all the time is we're pretty good with the boys. We every morning they have a bowl of either blueberries, strawberries, pineapple, watermelon. We just whatever. Every week we kind of change it up, and we will go weeks. And finally, one of us will go, "Why aren't we eating that?" Like we make it for them, but we never. Like I never think to grab a strawberry, or I never think to grab a blueberry if Mikey or Joe don't eat it. It's like off limits, which is ridiculous because we should be eating that. It's healthy.
I grew up on cereal, frosted mini
okay.
wheats, frosted flakes, Lucky
That's a-
Charms. I mean, just awful, sugary, worst thing you can put in your body right when you wake up in the morning. And our kids have had cereal maybe twice in their life. We don't give our kids cereal.
So you don't. But okay, if I
Crazy.
came over and
I
gave
know, I'm
you
gonna
a
get some
cereal
crap
box
for it,
or
but
like
whatever.
for one of it, would you eat it? Would you still eat that cereal if
No.
you put it in a bowl right now?
No shot.
All right. What about those Capri Suns? I still love those.
Diana, you have you have a diet of a 10-year-old kid. Capri Sun? Diana, do you know how much Red 40 and all that? I'm sounding really California right now, but like I grew up on that stuff. And I used to drink Big Red soda when I was a kid. Remember Big Red soda?
Yep.
Like all that stuff. And we've changed, I guess.
All right. Well, my boy's favorite snack, and we don't do it all the time. And I am very guilty of grabbing a box. And they're also at that age where they freak out if you're eating what they want. So I have to hide
that's
when I
the
do
worst.
it. Dunkaroos. Do you remember Dunkaroos? Picture me in the corner of my kitchen,
Wait,
probably texting
you're-
somebody,
you're-
dunking crackers in the vanilla because it's
You're
delicious.
breaking news while you're eating Dunkaroos hidden in your bathroom.
That rhymes.
What are you, Diana? I mean, I used to eat a lot of Dunkaroos. Did you like the chocolate or the vanilla?
Vanilla. And I'm a chocolate
Yeah.
person, but the vanilla is always really good. Even look, growing up, my parents were really healthy with us, and I obviously played all the different kind of
Doesn't
sports.
sound
My
like
mom,
it.
I don't know what happened. My mom used to always just make sure I had like the healthiest and best lunches and snacks because I always had a game after school.
Yeah.
But I think once I became an adult and no one was taking care of me, that's kind of like the theme in my household. If someone doesn't do it for me, it doesn't get done. So,
My wife would eat like way worse than that until she was like 32 or 33, and something just hit, and she was like, "We're changing the way we eat because
Yeah.
we
And the
learned what
thing
was
is,
in that food."
don't we all know the same thing? When you change it, you feel so good. Like when we eat healthy in this house,
So much better.
we regret every night we eat garbage. We say the same thing. Like we'll go to Dairy
Doesn't
Queen
everyone though?
for Sunday Night Football.
I
That's like our thing.
love Dairy
we
Queen.
always have a big Sunday dinner, and then Kev runs to DQ for us, and we watch the game together
Blizzards.
every Sunday. And we say the same damn thing on Monday morning. Why did we eat that? That was hard. He goes to the gym, and then I go to the gym right after because the guilt is just so bad. So either way, congratulations to our Jason Jenks on that awesome Uncrustable story. If you guys have not read it, you should go check it out on The Athletic. You won't be able to miss it. It's right on the homepage. So that'll do it for us here on Scoop City. Thanks for hanging out. We hope that you guys had fun because we obviously had tons of fun watching all the action this week. And we will be back and see you guys soon.
Bye, guys. Tag me next time.
Thanks for tuning into Scoop City. If you want to hear more, make sure you like and subscribe. We drop our new episodes every Tuesday and Friday.